Welcome to our audience around the world. It is a privilege to moderate this event today, continuing our series dedicated to the cross-industry impact of AI. Our conversation is harmonized with a global landscape that is marked by increased investments, increased mergers, increased economic growth, and novel regulatory frameworks. Just a few days ago, NVIDIA reported a record quarterly revenue of $26 billion, up 18% from Q4 and up 262% from a year ago, surpassing every expectation and signaling ongoing massive interest in the market globally. While there are several industries where AI has already demonstrated a transformative impact, we selected two verticals to hone in on for our first few episodes: fintech and health tech. According to several consulting firms, reports, for instance, from the World Economic Forum, OECD, International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the World Health Organization, AI is poised to disrupt these industries over the next decade via numerous levers, including productivity growth, workforce dynamics, to recalibrate corporate culture. Significant AI integration is expected. So today, we're going to ask our experts to comment on what they see as trends in the AI market. And I will also ask them to share some of the challenges they foresee with this rapid adoption that we have witnessed. Please allow me to introduce our special guests. I will start with Dr. Birgul Cotelli. She has a doctorate in finance and economics from the University of Lausanne, and she is renowned for her expertise in the finance sector and has a robust background as a risk and compliance director in global banks worldwide. She currently acts as a trusted independent advisor and a visionary in integrating cutting-edge technologies into the financial ecosystem. Her work ensures that organizations remain at the forefront of technological advancements without losing sight of their core responsibilities. A celebrated international speaker, valuable member of the WBF Global STI Committee, she is frequently addressing topics related to AI-driven risk and compliance at professional events worldwide. Thank you, Dr. Birgul Cotelli, for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Ingrid. It's an honor to be with you today.
Thank you. And then I will introduce Tony Moroney. He's recognized on the global world stage for his expertise in strategy, digital transformation, and financial services. He's the principal of the Digital Explorer, a specialist digital advisory firm, and founder and managing director of Saburai Consulting, a boutique financial services and fintech advisory firm. As a leading voice on digital disruption, serving executive clients worldwide, he's a sought-after authority at national and international forums. In the academic sphere, he brings his expertise to the Irish Management Institute, leading its digital leadership, digital transformation, and cybersecurity programs. Tony is a co-founder and secretary at the Digital Transformation Lab, Cork University Business School, represents Ireland as a senator at the World Business Angel Investment Forum, is on the board of the WBF World Smart City Economic Development Commission, and a president of the Cybersecurity Committee of the Global STI Committee. Thank you for joining us, Tony. We're eager to hear your insights as well.
Thank you, Ingrid. My pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And then last but not least, I would like to introduce Yamina Hakem. She's a global recognized executive with over 3 decades of experience in international business development and information technology in the pharmaceutical and life sciences industries. As the founder and CEO of Global Reach BI, a consulting company dedicated to strategic intelligence, she has harnessed AI technology to provide client partners with strategic data-driven insights. This innovation has propelled Global Reach BI to the forefront of the pharmaceutical life sciences industry. Prior to this, Yamina had an illustrious career at Thomson Reuters, where she held several key leadership positions. She's a member of the board of the directors at Pharmacelera and of Le Conseil du Commerce Extérieur de la France, where she provides expert guidance on international trade and economic development, making significant contributions to the advancement of the pharmaceutical and life sciences industries. She will share key insights not only about pharmacy trends, but also how she experienced the recent launch of generative AI in her Spring-enabled platform that contributes to the pharma ecosystem. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ingrid.
Okay. And so I'm sure our audience is eager to hear what trends you see. And I would like to start with Birgul, because I think your expertise crosses truly all industries. You're highly experienced in risk and specifically AI risk. So I would like you to share with our audience your opinion, what you've observed over the last 18 months or so.
Thank you very much, Ingrid. Well, first of all, AI is increasingly integrated across various disciplines. This integration fosters innovative applications and solutions that were previously unimaginable. This interdisciplinary nature of AI promotes a holistic approach to problem solving, leading to more comprehensive and effective solutions. Various fields and disciplines are surrounding it, and AI intersects with, on the one hand, healthcare, biomedicine, neuroscience, pharmacy, computer science, engineering, mathematics, physics, chemistry, earth sciences, environment, geography, and business and management economics, political science, law, history, archaeology, education, on the other hand. What are the general trends that we observed today? We can talk about the adoption of explainable AI, or as we call it, XAI. Here, I'm not referring to Elon Musk's XAI, actually. This is gaining traction as industries recognize the need for transparency and accountability in AI decisions. XAI helps in understanding how AI models make decisions, which is crucial in sectors like finance and healthcare, where decision transparency is mandatory. This trend is driven by regulatory requirements and the need to build trust in AI systems. Speaking of healthcare and finance, of course, we have an expert in the panel, Ms. Yamina Hakem, who will certainly say much more about that. But I just would like to mention healthcare. AI's impact on healthcare is profound. It is increasingly integrated and being used in healthcare for predictive analytics and medical imaging analysis for early disease detection. So AI algorithms can analyze large data sets to predict disease outbreaks, patient admissions, optimizes treatment plans, improves patient outcomes, etc., etc. In financial services, though, AI improves the security and efficiency of financial transactions. It is being employed for fraud detection, risk management, and automated trading. This results in more secure financial environments. The systems in AI can analyze transaction patterns and detect fraudulent activities in real time and assess the credit risks more accurately. So we can also talk about the trend in ethical and philosophical considerations. The rise of AI has brought about significant concerns regarding algorithmic biases and ethical implications. There's a growing focus on this area, particularly in sensitive areas like hiring, criminal justice, law enforcement, and credit scoring. Then I can keep going with AI for environmental sustainability, then advancements in natural language processing, AI-driven automation and efficiency, from manufacturing to customer service to HR. So we can really mention here that across industries, it is really trending highly in all regards.
Thank you. You gave us a beautiful 30,000-foot view that really highlights the profound impact that it has. Tony, you work with a lot of boards, C-suites, management teams around the world. So can you share with our audience, when you interact with them, what are some of the trends that you see?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, first thing is, like, we're 18 months into generative AI. I mean, 18 months ago, we weren't talking about it. Now everyone is talking about it. And I think we've reached a point where actually conversations are starting to become real. Organizations are starting to maybe explore, well, what does this mean for our business in the long run? I would say, though, boards are putting executives under a lot of pressure. Investors are putting, private companies, public companies under pressure in terms of, like, what is the strategy? I think executives, I still think executives are very cautious because, it's like any other disruptive technology. They're looking at this and they're trying to understand, well, what does this actually do to our business? And what does it mean in the context of being competitive and relevant into the future? And I think, in parallel with the headlines about, AI will, take out jobs and that sort of stuff, I think a lot of executives are looking at AI still in the productivity space, but that's not where the real gains are going to come about. The real gains, in my mind, and I think where the more enlightened boards are getting to, is around the value creation. How can we go beyond just, cost cutting? Because everyone will do that. That'll just be table stakes. So we need to figure out, well, where is the value going to be created into the future? I think there's equally a realization, Ingrid, that look, it brings a lot of challenges because, if you don't have good data and if you don't have a good infrastructure, well, AI will be suboptimal at best because you're going to be rummaging around, but actually you're not going to have the insights. And we already have challenges in terms of, well, can we rely on the data? Well, if your starting point is you don't have good data, well, you can multiply your challenge by X. I also think that, and Warren Buffett made it very clear the other day that it does introduce whole new complexities, potential for deep fakes, potential for fraud. So we need to rethink our whole approach to cybersecurity. So I'd say, look, I would say boards are excited about the potential. Executives are cautiously optimistic, but still trying to figure their way around it. I don't believe there's enough focus on where the value creation part is going to come from. I think we're looking at a lot of tactical stuff, and there's not enough strategic foresight in terms of, well, if we roll the clock out, this is how we will need to be able to operate in the future. So I think we're in transition, but it is amazing, like 18 months in, and it's dominating the whole conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you. So you already gave a little prelude to our second question, but we'll come back to that. So Yamina, what are the trends you see, particularly in pharma and life sciences?
Well, I'm going to be even broader than that for once. I know that. So, because I've just come back from the week at Vivatech, which is the European largest tech conference in Paris. So I was there last week. And really, there are a few things that need to be highlighted. First is that it was amazing, a large number of stands. There were over like 13,000 companies at the conference. There were over like 165,000 visitors. It was crowded. It was for all industries. I mean, obviously today we are focusing on pharma and tech, and I will definitely go and explain how Sanofi, for example, is putting in AI. But really, when you see the diversity of the industries, the market segments, in everywhere, in agriculture, in everything, in robotics, obviously, but every angle of life is now being looked at from an AI standpoint. That was really, really one of the most important elements for me. The quality of the discussions, because we had some discussions from Google, Amazon, NVIDIA. We had some amazing things being said. Where is it going? How fast it is moving? And I have to say that one thing that did strike me is, okay, we've got the AI, generative AI, the ChatGPT, the large language models. In a way, I have to say that this is something of the past, because what is being looked at now is that multimodal reasoning. So it's not just about text, it's how you link the text with the image and all the different elements to give it more context. So it's building a model, you have to do that, but also with text. And we've done that. What is the next phase? So definitely all this multimodal reasoning was mind-blowing. And this is what GPT-4o is all about. So where can you take it to the next level? So obviously, where is that going to bring us if you focus on the pharma side? I mean, pharma, the AI industry is already revolutionizing it. And again, we think, I mean, certainly I thought that it was something like of a theory. But when you hear what Sanofi is doing, how they are implementing it, the ROIs that they are taking, it's already here. So it's not a thing of the past, it's something now of the present. And it's across the whole board. It's across the validations of the target, it's across the development, building the protocols most efficiently so that you are not losing time in recruiting patients into your clinical trial. And then once you have developed your clinical trial, it's how much you can leverage having the right patients so that you have minimal dropouts. So, and then it's when you're building your regulatory filing, how you can maximize that with the data you have collected and avoid errors and remaking of it. So I have to say that where we are at in AI across the industries, the trends are enormous. Everybody's embracing it. Everybody's moving with it. There are so many companies. Obviously, not everybody's going to be a winner, but everybody's putting a bet on that in their industry.
Thank you.
So it was a long answer.
No, thank you so much. I think all of you touched different facets. I can also share what I've seen is a challenge with them integrating all this innovation within the companies with existing strategies. It seems that it has caused a lot of disruption and they don't know what to do with existing strategies and how to weave in all this novel, innovative AI enterprise into the rest, particularly if they have to also still consider their ESG pledges as an example. That has fallen off completely the radar in several of them. Great, so let's move on to the next question, because I think we all have witnessed also that this rapid adoption has caused not only cyber data breaches, also ethical challenges and many others. So I wanted to hear from all of you, if you had to pick the most important or the most concerning challenge out of all of them, which one would you recommend that enterprises are very careful? And we'll start again with Birgul and then Tony and then Yamina.
Thank you, Ingrid. Well, I see a few challenges with AI adoption that are significant and varied. So it's encompassing technical, ethical, and practical dimensions. Let me just choose the unconscious bias. With the algorithmic bias, the AI systems can perpetuate and amplify existing biases in data, leading to unfair and discriminatory outcomes. This is evident in various applications, from facial recognition technology, failing to accurately identify dark-skinned faces, to predictive policing systems, disproportionately targeting minority communities, for example. Bias in AI can create feedback loops where the outcomes of biased algorithms reinforce the biases present in the training data, because we have to keep in mind that, the AI keeps training. It keeps being trained basically over time. It never sleeps. For example, predictive policing algorithms may increase police presence in certain neighborhoods based on biased crime data, which in turn leads to more crime reports from those areas, perpetuating the cycle, which is extremely unfortunate, of course. And relating also to some extent with finance, biased algorithms can lead to discriminatory lending practices, unfair credit scoring, and biased investment decisions. For example, studies have shown that mortgage algorithms can discriminate against minorities by misjudging their credit worthiness based on biased data sets. Of course, we can also mention, transparency and accountability, ethical and societal implications. But I think I'm just going to stop here if I had to choose one. Thank you.
I thought you were going to mention IP rights, because I think it is a big problem and you're an expert in that. So I
Well-
see it quite a lot. Also, big lawsuits are brewing already because of the challenges when you deploy AI. Most people did not read the fine, small print, and even when you adopt some of the large AI models, you think you just paid the enterprise license fee, but it says they're very small, that they're training the AI, and within 2 years, all that data is going to be lost to the company. Maybe you comment a little bit afterwards on IP rights. Great.
Yeah,
So,
potentially. Thank you.
thank you. Tony?
So yeah, I think there's a couple of big issues. I think, you know, ethical and responsible use of AI is right up there. And I think the piece that's been missed is, you know, bring your own AI is now a phenomenon. So if we don't think every single employee in the company is using generative AI on their smartphone, you know, we're living in the past. So you know, that is a real issue. And what amazes me is I talk to organizations and I ask them, well, what policies have you in place? And they've none, right? Zero, absolutely zero. I mean, simple things like you cannot put customer information into a large language model, or you know, something like that. You can't put sensitive information. So zero information. And there was a piece out there at the weekend, and it basically said ChatGTP is the #1 unauthorized app that is being secretly used by employees throughout the world. Right? So these tools are available to everyone, and I think that's the amazing thing on one level. Like the diffusion is just unbelievable, but it creates a huge challenge. And if organizations don't set the tone and don't make clear what needs to happen or how it should be done, you're only looking for problems. I think the big problem that I also see at board level is the regulatory uncertainty. So yes, we have an EU AI Act coming down the tracks. We also have acts coming around from different parts of the world, but what they're unclear about is, well, what acts actually apply today? So you take something like data, well, GDPR is there. So there's no point in talking about, well, when the AI Act comes, you already are subject to regulation. And I think there's a bit of uncertainty there. And there's also uncertainty. You were talking about the small print there, Ingrid. So if I'm going to put something into market, so I'm an open AI, so, oh yeah, well, that regulation applies to them. But actually, if I'm just going to put it into service and use it internally, I actually may be caught by the same regulation. And organizations don't understand that. So I think they're grappling a little bit around, okay, well, what are the rules? Because, you know, we all need certainty. If we're going to run businesses, we need certainty in terms of what rules are we playing by. And then the last piece, look, I totally agree with you in terms of, you know, are we ready for the cultural transformation that's going to be required? I'm not sure we are. I think people are looking at this and say, oh yeah, it's there, that's nice, it's coming or whatever. But are they really transforming their mindset and, you know, set to change the culture? Question mark.
Absolutely. And yes, you mentioned how many millions of people are entering data. If you think about surveillance, I just had to do a keynote for digital diplomacy, and if you think about it now, the data that we all voluntarily put out there is more than any surveillance program could have ever done, right? So talking about digital trust. I think that's why UNESCO came up with the Internet of Trust, that I think someone needs to regulate that a little faster, otherwise it's going to get out of control. That's great. So Yamina, what challenges do you see?
Well, I can definitely speak about some challenges that I've faced. Because as you were saying at the beginning, I mean, with all the high value added data that we provide and analyzed data that we provide for our clients in terms of competitive intelligence, strategic intelligence, we've developed this platform that is called Spring. And at that, when we developed, now that's 5 years ago, and last year we implemented the OpenAI API on top of that. And really what I've learned from this exercise of implementing Spring is very much the fact that you have to find the right people, the right talent. And there's a talent war out there. And that was one of the key elements that was discussed also during the conference, because and that's especially difficult in pharma, because you have to have somebody who is tech-minded and science with the scientific knowledge. So that's a bit difficult to find the right person and the right people that is going to help us do that. So, and there is now this whole endeavor by the different governments to basically train and democratize AI and democratize tech. So certainly one of the first challenge is very much people, make that happen through people. Obviously, I would be lying if I wouldn't be mentioning data. And one of the comments from a person from AWS was that, okay, you have now different tools, different platforms where you can host your information and you can build your platform. That's great. But what is going to be the only differentiator at the end of the day? It's data. So data is still key. And again, when you are saying that it comes from all the different sources, it can come from internal research, external data from all the different clinical sites, all those, how do you deal with that? So data is really key. And the third element that is a really big challenge, and especially for the small ones, for small companies, is cost. Because at the end of the day, as you were saying, I mean, NVIDIA is making billions of dollars of revenue. But I mean, when you see how much that costs, that's huge. So, and not everybody can afford all those tools. So cost is also a barrier to entry, and we still need to reduce the cost to build those platforms internally. So those are the three ones: people, data, and cost of the platforms.
Absolutely. And I think the hybrid augmented workflows, I notice also when I work with companies, not only all the challenges you mentioned, but then even when they do have a policy, to Tony's point, they don't know how to translate that policy or that framework into the hybrid workflows and to integrate it in a way that still allows the company to mitigate risk and to not have policy breaches and to still maintain their financial goals. So I noticed big issues there as well. Now, for the third round, so we talked about cross-industry impact, we talked about challenges. I wanted to ask you to also think what opportunities do you see moving forward? Because we know Gen AI is actually the smallest opportunity compared to other bigger AI portfolio tools. So if we think Gen AI transformed our world, what will other AI portfolio tools maybe be able to do? And as we've seen, it's been more silent, but neuromorphic AI, quantum enabled AI is also coming pretty strongly. Just 5 years ago, they thought that none of these, or exascale computing as an example, is also pushing very hard and can augment AI impact. So let's hear from all of you what you think will be the opportunities for AI across the board over the next few years. And we'll start again with Birgul, Tony, and Yamina.
Thank you, Ingrid. Well, I think I can mention just a few in the financial sector, and I will give simple examples. One of them is, for example, the personalized financial planning. So AI-driven advisory services, the robo-advisors that have been already existing, right? So they can provide personalized financial service and portfolio management. These systems use algorithms to tailor investment strategies based on individual goals, risk tolerance, and market conditions, making financial planning more accessible and customized. And robo-advisors had been learning from the market data over the course of many years now, and they can only flourish in the future. The regulatory compliance, on the other hand, the AI can assist in ensuring regulatory compliance by automating the monitoring of transactions, which is already, vastly used. The detection of the activities that may indicate regulatory breaches, that is another area of regulatory compliance where AI is very useful. These reduce the burden of compliance and helps in maintaining the integrity of financial operations. Then I can also mention the operational efficiency, for example. There are a lot to do as well at this end. AI can streamline back office operations by automating routine tasks such as data entry, reconciliation, reporting. That is not only reducing operational costs, but also minimizing the errors. We have already mentioned that. So that frees up human resources for more strategic activities. We have to keep in mind that we have a plethora of fintechs and we have incumbent banks. The incumbent banks are so big and they already use so complex and hundreds of systems at this point in time. It is not very easy to have, just one streamlined solution. Even though we were able to put all the fintechs together, we wouldn't be able to, tackle all the issues that the big banks are facing. So we have an issue with the incumbent global banks. Another area would be credit scoring and lending. So AI can improve credit scoring models by incorporating non-traditional data sources such as social media activity. That is very useful actually, and online behavior. So we were mentioning, we are putting a lot of data out there, and that is the new gold, actually, the new most valuable currency. However, that may be used actually in order to, have non-biased data to train the AI. That allows for more accurate assessments for creditworthiness and the ability to extend credit to underserved populations. That is very, very important. Then finally, getting AI and metaverse together in different sectors. I could mention maybe with immersive finance, an area which is the area of interest for me. That is within the business lines of banks, asset managers, and wealth managers. It is to ensure transparent flow of data. I'm not talking the exterior of the banks or the financial institution, but even within the financial institutions themselves. Because sometimes, the executives at the very top, they don't know all the details of, what is going on in their financial institutions at the further bottom. So the flow of data, information, risk analysis, and communication, bottom up, top down, breaking the barriers of bureaucracy and executive hubris. These are the areas where it can be very, very useful. Transparency is key to establish trust, not only within a financial institution, as we said, but also with the customers, investors, markets, other counterparties, and regulators as a whole in the financial ecosystem. Then I will also just finish with the Cosmos Finance. We are on the earth, right? So we have to really figure out how to sort out and solve the issues of the financial sector on the earth. But Cosmos and traveling to Mars, traveling to Moon, it is coming soon, right? We don't know how soon exactly, but we have to be able to also our finances right for the Cosmos, living. So with this, I think I see the future trends in financial world that way.
Thank you. Well, the 3 richest men in the world have divided already the outer space logistics, outer space travel, and outer space personalized experience.
Yeah.
Right? So it's you're probably not far off. Go ahead.
I think the answer in Vivatech was Mars, wasn't it?
Exactly.
When
Mars.
the question was asked, what's the most important thing? Mars. So yeah, look, I think we're at an interesting potential inflection point. And you're right, AI has been around for longer than I have, and I wasn't born yesterday. And there's loads of variations of AI. But I think what is interesting, and why I say inflection point, is that, Bill Gates talked about, the graphical user interface being a revolution and, generative AI being the next one. I think what's really interesting is that typically in an organization, about 12% of the team or the employees are technical people, so coders, programmers, whatnot. If we roll forward and the programming language of the future is the spoken language, in theory, every single person in your organization now is able to engage with IT and do things. And the question then is, how do we harness that? Because we're not looking to displace people, but we are looking to augment them so that they can bring more value to the organization, do better things for their customers. And if we think about, well, how do we use these things? Because if we take something like a call center, typically viewed as a cost center, right, where you get loads of data that probably tells you nothing. imagine if your generative AI is able to say, well, actually, here's why people are calling us. Here's what's important to them. Here's how they feel about the organization. Here's how they feel when they're finished that call. Now suddenly, your call center becomes the pulse of the organization. So I think what we need to do is sort of look at, okay, let's worry about shadow IT another day, but let's look at how do we harness this in a way that augments our people to create new insights, create new value, and actually, create better outcomes for everyone, including our employees.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I think you're bringing up an important point, and that has transpired also just at a company level, right? Many companies that were never in tech now, because they deployed AI, all of a sudden they are tech if they like it or not. They have to like one. So Yamina, what do you see as opportunities?
Okay, so what's the opportunity? I think that certainly, again, what I've seen last week is that there are so many different models being built, and certainly not one model is going to be ruling the world. And it's going to be, again, understanding clearly what is it that you are aiming to do with your AI, so that you can then get the right tool and the right platform to help you. It all comes down to that key element. What is the purpose of AI that you're aiming to implement? What is the function? What is the problem that you are trying to solve? And then you can have implement the right model for it. And to be honest with you, that's one point. The second point that is really important, and especially in the pharma industry. So we were talking about how it's helping the development of a drug, but actually now it's really putting the patient. You were, Tony, you were mentioning the employee being at the center and supporting AI, supporting the employee. Definitely. In the pharma, it's very much how AI is going to be supporting the patient and having the patient really as an actor of his own health. This is where it's going to be. This patient centricity. And secondly, it's also about, okay, what do we do before we develop that drug? It's basically prevention, predictive analytics, and make sure that we understand and prevent this patient to be having cancer or whatever. So this is where a lot of investments need to be happening, especially when you know that only 2% of the budget allocated to research is done on the prevention side. So it's really, really important to focus on that and help the patient ahead of him being sick. At the same time, when we are developing those tools, developing those platforms, again, they are here to support us. They are here to augment us. They are here to enhance our productivity and our work. They are not here to replace us. So we are really, the final comment and the conclusion of it all is not to be scared of it and see it as see AI as an enabler rather than anything else. We need human intelligence, and we will need it always to make those AI tools work towards our own goals.
Thank you. So, in conclusion, if I would ask you all to do a quick rapid fire round to say what do you predict will be either the industry with the highest impact or which AI tool out of the AI portfolio, what would you pick? We've seen literally the last week, everyone is predicting something, and they all go for the sentient AI or AGI, but we're still far from that, and we don't even have a good definition. But I would love to hear your opinion. So Birgul, what's your crystal ball?
Well, I'm not sure if I am really seeing this very, very clearly, but AGI, for example, as you have very, correctly mentioned, I was watching a movie, Scarlett Johansson, many years ago. It's called Lucy. And Lucy basically was becoming the god, and she was not only using 10% of her brain, but she was able to use 100% of her brain. So AGI, in my mind, is representing that. In order to get to that point, we are the humans today. We are only using the 10% of our intellectual capacity after millions and billions of years of existence, on Earth. So I don't know if we are going to be able to achieve AGI with the machines. Maybe it will be easier than what we did as human beings. So who knows, perhaps, but at least we know that interplanetary, existence is going to shape somehow our future, and we have to be ready for that. And finances are a very important component of that.
Absolutely.
With that, thank you very much. It was a pleasure being with this panel.
Thank you. Tony, what's
So-
your AI-powered crystal ball saying?
Well, any business that uses data needs to rethink its business model fast. And I think it's incumbent on every single one of us to rethink our own jobs too. Because, if AI can do, more than 50% of your job, you need a new job. If it can do less than 50%, you need to change your job. And I think we need to take this opportunity to sort of say, well, what's unique about our skills? And what is it we want to, build that is, human-centric? And then how is the technology going to support that? But I would say, look, if it's a bit like the digital transformation. If you're trying to hold on to the old ways, you will be left behind. So if you're in a data business, AI is coming and it's coming fast. And if you don't embrace AI, someone who does will replace you.
Totally,
That's
totally
true.
agree.
Yamina,
Totally.
your crystal projection?
I mean, totally agree with you, Tony. And for example, when we are on Spring platform, when you see that every month we bring intelligence to our clients, and then what it does is that it collects all the information. And here, when you wanted to know, okay, what was said about that drug last year, it would take you like an hour, maybe two, to get that information together. Now you just do a search, and within a minute, no, 40 seconds,
Yeah.
basically 40 seconds, it brings you the summary of all the intelligence that it has gathered. And we've managed to structure it so in a way that it's saying what is it we're talking about, the data science that there is about it, and the conclusions. It's happening, it's here. We have to make it happen. Now, in terms of my prediction, certainly I agree with Birgul in terms of AGI. And again, with the launch of ChatGPT 4o Omni, the big comparison was her. So that's not the film that you were talking about, but the film that you mentioned about it. I mean, it's going to be here. And I was reading an article this morning. Musk is saying that it should be here. AGI is going to be here by 2025. Basically, it's tomorrow. So,
Well, let's see. Let's see.
yeah, let's
I
see.
challenge all of them to first give us a definition that everybody agrees on AGI before we start predicting which year, because I think everyone has a different definition so far. So
They can't even give us a definition of digital transformation. So I
Exactly.
wish you well.
or plain AI. If you look AI, there are more than 25 definitions by major companies. So
But
it.
that's why we are so lucky, because we make it up as we go along. We invent it. That's why we are, I think, in a very, very fascinating moment of history, is that we are making it happen.
That's definitely true. We're lucky that we are at this intersection.
Totally.
Thank you to all. I really appreciate your time, and I'm sure our audience will enjoy every single one of your insights and the predictions as well. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.
Pleasure.